What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Lucid. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with some data points for this week, Monday and Tuesday is going to be kind of relatively quiet from data points or Fed speakers. Rather, it is going to be the market digesting pretty much Trump and Elon. So it's been somewhat mixed emotions, and it's actually weird to bring up drama in the broader market as a catalyst or whatever else. But obviously last Thursday was the peak of it, so this is where really shit hit the fan, pardon my French. Friday, people started to think it was just a hoax and whatever, but over the weekend you did see Trump pretty much saying, hey, like Elon is going to face the worst of it if he keeps on how it is, and as a byproduct, Musk did delete all of his kind of controversial posts. So at the end of the day, I think legitimately they did break up. It is a very weird scenario, but the market is going to be digesting what that does truly mean. So I think there's, again, a little bit more of a divide occurring in the broader market. Team Trump or Team Musk, and especially with the kind of robo-taxis coming out like in the next little bit, that it's very weird timing. But nonetheless, I feel like that is going to be what really moves the market in the first couple of trading days. Aside from that, we do have, I believe it is on the 9th, that is when the States and China are going to be meeting. So potentially that could be a very good catalyst for the broader market. Aside from that, though, you do have on Wednesday CPI, PPI on Thursday, and then on Friday, Michigan Consumer Sentiment. All have the ability to really move the market higher. As far as companies unveiling the earnings, nothing of substance. You do have GameStop. So if Lucid was, for instance, a meme stock, then yeah, I'd say there would be some correlation. GameStop, if they have a good earnings, could cause kind of a ripple across memes. But Lucid, even though it is heavily shorted, I don't really feel like the broader market sees it as a true-on meme. Some of you may or may not disagree with me. If you do, let me know in the comments below. But I feel like GameStop might be a catalyst for the broader market, not necessarily Lucid. Specific to Lucid, though, this is what they have on their kind of chopping block for this upcoming week. So it looks as though they're still going to be at the King of Prussia, going to be in Nashville, and that seems to be pretty much it for this week. So it's been kind of quiet, in all honesty. So let me know your viewpoint on that. I did actually find a link to the actual numbers. So over the last couple of videos, I went over how they did have in the States 975 sales. So in reality, that was kind of low to some individuals. I do kind of agree. But one thing that was brought up was that there was no gravities, and that actually is very accurate. So this is Motor Trend or Motor Intelligence, and so it does show cars for Lucid right here, 975, 0 for trucks. So we've seen plenty of flyovers recently, and so they are actually doing a lot of ramping up for the Gravity, but maybe a lot of those Gravities are oriented and focused for studios. So they're not really getting the sales, or maybe there is something fishy going on, that there is more to it than we know of. Maybe supply chain or whatever else, but this is something I just wanted to kind of bring up as from I guess a follow-up from a couple of videos ago. So let me know your viewpoint on this. I don't really see this impacting the market this week, only because the market's been somewhat made aware of this information already, so it's not really new exactly. I just wanted to kind of bring it up to you just so you are all aware of that. Aside from all of that, looking at shorts going into this upcoming week, 31.73% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 391.39 million shares overall are being shorted. So I do anticipate shorts to increase just as a blanket throughout the whole week. Even on Friday, I don't know exactly what shorts are acting based on, what kind of information, because there hasn't really been all that much coming out from Lucid. Of course, they did submit some SEC forms on Friday that I've already done a video on, but on Friday, shorts did increase 10.43 million shares. So something definitely is up with Lucid. And even if I pop over here, I posted at the close of business, I post all this. I even said overall day for the market was fairly good, obviously on Friday, but short interest update for June the 6th. Shorts increased 10.43 million WTF. Everyone else was relatively like, yeah, shorts increased, but not to the same magnitude as Lucid. So do they know something that the broader market doesn't? I know on a technical standpoint going into this upcoming week, it is actually based on the Elliott Wave technicals projecting for it to hit that $1.88 range. I know this is basically not what people want to see or hear, but it is what it is. And that's kind of where I did previously mention that I was going to be a buyer at between that $1.80 and $1.90 range. So Lucid really needs to get their crap together for this week. And if they have some news, put it out. So of course we kind of were made aware of a deal, Blacklane, but we don't really know much details about it. It's just a lot of speculation. So we don't know how many potentially they may or may not be ordering, when, time frame, what variations of what, like, are they just getting Airs? Are they getting Gravity? It's a combination of both. What is going on? So I feel like Lucid really does need to kind of be a lot more transparent, which is kind of weird because that's actually what Mark did mention during the Q4 earnings when he just was pretty much thrown into the interim CEO role. And he did say, hey, I want to be more transparent. Lucid needs to be more transparent. So far, that hasn't really panned out all that well. So I feel like there's a lot of room for improvement for Lucid. But basically, where it did close in at 215, you have virtually nothing for in the money options. So you have 4,000 at that too. That's not going to cause any bump up in the price for this upcoming week. Looking forward into this upcoming, you do have 10,000 at that 250, 7,000 at that 3, and then 2,000 at that 2. So if Lucid does build up some good momentum, gets close to that 250, you could potentially see shorts again really wake up to try to suppress it to ensure it closes below 250. That's again, if everything that I mentioned as far as data points goes according to plan. Let's say there's a China deal, Elon and Trump kind of figure their own stuff out and everything goes according to plan, like I said, then maybe you can see that 250, but I think it's right now not necessarily in the cards. But as far as right now with that 215, it is trading below this S1, so that's going to be a key resistance point. You really want to watch for it to get over early on. So 218 is going to be that key pivot, and then $1.99 and $1.69. So again, Elliott Wave Technicals is kind of projecting for it to be somewhere between that S2 and this S3. Aside from all of that fun stuff though, on the actual chart, it is below all the key pivotal moving averages. Stochastic RSI is mind-blowingly oversold, so that could really stand to benefit it this upcoming week, whether it be because of data points or whatever else. But over the last week for Lucid, it did go down 1.83%. So nothing overly crazy. It was a very volatile week, but at the end of the day, wasn't all that bad. Take that with a grain of salt, of course. So in my opinion, factoring in absolutely everything, I do feel that we will be still between this S1 and this S2. I know some people might be like, hey, this is going to recover to 250 easily. And I hope that is the case, but you do have shorts clearly hell-bent on bringing Lucid down. And this is something that's kind of infuriating because I cover quite a few different stocks, many different YouTube channels. Many of the stocks actually are heavily shorted, not to even the same magnitude as Lucid, but you do have many CEOs outright coming out and be like, hey, I want to be more transparent to combat the manipulation that is happening against X stock or whatever else. It's very damaging, right? And so if you do have constantly this force, aka shorts, really suppressing whatever stock out there, it is bound to really just get hit because sentiment goes down, because retail investors won't want to see their investment go down and everything else in the market go higher, right? So I think just Lucid itself really does need to do something at the end of the day, and shorts whatever entities are really trying to bring Lucid down, they know and follow the technicals. So it all started going back over here with this damn 200-day moving average. They doubled down to ensure that it broke below that, and then they did the exact same thing for the 100 and then same for the 50. So they are trying to break it on a technical standpoint. So these levels right here that I am bringing up, they're already aware of that. They already know that the Elliott wave technicals are projecting $1.80. They want to bring it to that level. This is where they will return and cause it to bounce off of that, as what they've done many times in the past. So at the end of the day, I do feel, like I said, long story short, it'll be between this S1 and S2. So what's your viewpoint on that in the comments below? Do you think that this week is going to be epic? If so, why? And what do you actually feel is going to be the next big catalyst for Lucid? Because I know in general, that's what the market needs, right? You need a good catalyst. And previously, it was always the Gravity. Hey, Gravity is going to propel Lucid to unlimited levels and whatever else. But right now, the only catalyst is just Lucid doing its job of ramping up. So it's kind of not really inspiring investors, I guess, if that kind of makes sense. So let me know your thoughts. Do you think I'm being too hard on Lucid? Do you think I'm being just right? What's your kind of viewpoint? And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon. If you are looking for some good buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.